students. So like I said, we're going to start with a subdivision plat. And that's what this is right in here. This, as far as this document, it's called a subdivision plat. And that is the technical term. Some of you guys might be saying, hey, mister, isn't that misspelled? Shouldn't that be plan? No, it's literally called a subdivision plat. And that's the technical term. And I really want you guys to focus on vocabulary. That's really a big thing in the industry is the vocabulary. As far as the plat, we're going to start drawing. It's a legal document. It's a document that's used in the industry today, and so you guys that are enduring the civil engineering training, you might not like civil engineering. You say, "Oh, Mister, but I like more architecture." Okay, well that's fine, but as an architect, you will still have to at one point develop what's called a site plan. So the site plan has to do with a subdivision plat. So it's still not a bad thing to know. Let me tell you how important it is. Vocabulary in this industry is very important. You don't want to go out in the industry and somebody might they'll ask you, hey, develop a site plan. Okay, well, can I have a copy of the what did Mr. Torres say? The map thingy. Do you have the map thingy? Well, they'll look at you like, I don't know what a thingy is. But if you were as a high school junior, come back and say, I'm gonna help you with a site plan. Can you give me a copy of the subdivision plat? And they'll be like, what? You already know what a plat is? Yes, I learned that in my civil drafting class at the Career Center at Riverside. So in vocabulary, guys, just to let you know, is a very important concept. Okay, so once again, like I said, and this PowerPoint is on the class share, so and you'll have it. It's there now. Like I said, it's called a subdivision plat. Okay, so we're going to start working with a subdivision plat today. This one specifically is called Lanka Heights, and Lanka Heights is a subdivision that exists here in El Paso now. You can drive over there this afternoon if you wanted to. It's in El Paso. It's on the east side. I think the closest intersection is Edgemere and Lee Boulevard. I think Lee is where is that street name? There it is, Lee Boulevard. So it's over there on the east side of El Paso. Okay. So this is a subdivision that exists, and what we're going to be doing in the class is we're going to draw the whole thing. We're actually going to draw all the line work. We're going to start with boundary and lot lines and all that stuff. So we're going to start with the subdivision in the next class or so. But before we do that, I just want to make sure you guys understand what this document is. Okay, this document is a subdivision, like I said right in here. It's called Lanka Heights, and it's basically defining property lines between all these lots. This is what's called a lot. Okay, that lot is with the piece of property that comes together with the house. So whenever you buy a house, you're buying a house together with land. The land is the lot. Okay, so this is the lot that you would need to know about. Like let's talk about this one in particular. So this is the property you're buying. So it's defined with this legal subdivision plat to tell you how big your property is legally speaking. Okay, so that's basically what this is telling you what that property is and the size of the property. Okay. Now the reason that's important, well, obviously because it's a requirement for this class, but the other thing too is if you ever needed to develop what's called a site plan. I will tell you, students, we did not do a site plan this year. We just didn't have time. COVID was in the way. So we kind of we're not able to get to a site plan. But if you ever do, this is what a site plan is. Whenever you're designing a house, you're making a house, the residence, that house needs to be located on a lot. So you can kind of see this property lines right in here. And on these property lines in there is where you then locate your house and place it and give dimensions from the property line to the edges of the house so that they're able to place the house on the lots correctly. Okay. So this right here, this was just a sample site plan. Okay. This is an actual site plan. And by the way, sometimes they don't call it site. Sometimes they call it a plot plan. It just really depends. Okay. This is an actual plot plan that I did for my brother-in-law. And it's kind of cool because he wanted to add a patio to his house, which is this patio right in here. And whenever you do that legally, when you get permits, you have to develop what's called a plot plan. So hey, Mr. Torres, being a CAD technician, knows how to work with these. So I went over there and I measured his house on 11750 Stone Castle. I got the property information from his subdivision plat, and I developed this plan for him of the existing house. And then I went ahead in there, added the proposed covered patio that he built for his house. Okay, so it comes into it comes in handy as far as having this knowledge, because we were able to do this for I was able to do this for him. No, knowing how to read a plat and get all that information to be able to develop a site plan. Okay. All right. So again, even if you don't like civil engineering, you want architecture, then at one point or another, you will have to work with a subdivision plat at one point. Okay. So it's just something you can't get away from. It's something you can't get away from. All right. Okay. So as far as the subdivision plats and site plans, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus a lot of the discussion on this one lot right here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom into it here in a little bit, but that's the one I'm going to focus on the most so we can talk about this one, okay? So let's go to that right slide. Oops, to that appropriate slide. And that's this one right in here. Okay, so that's the one I was zoomed into, this one right here. All right. So first things first. In the state of Texas, to identify a piece of property, you actually get to identify it two different ways. The first way is a very common way, and for example, this is something you do all the time. How do I identify a piece of property like your house, or well, even if you live in an apartment complex right now, there's a way to identify that property. For example, let's say one of you guys lives in a house, and let's say you have a friend that you just met at the mall, and you tell, hey, come over to my house. How do you get that person over to your house? You've never met, you just met this person. They don't know where you live. How do you get them there? What do you tell them? Like, hey, let's come over to my house. What do you tell them? Let me start picking on some people. All right. Let's start with one of our officers, Miss Brianna. Miss Brianna, go ahead and turn on your microphone and tell me, hey, your new friend, come on over to my house. How do you get that person over to your house? What do you tell them? Very good. You tell them your address. It's as simple as that. Okay. So how do you know the address? Well, strange enough, it's on the subdivision plans. Yes, the civil engineer is the one that determined the address to your house. You're welcome. That's what we do. So one of the few things that we do on a plat is we actually coordinate the address numbers. That's something that we civil engineers work with the postmaster of El Paso to determine the address, something that makes sense, something that works. And we're the ones that actually come up with the address, just like Ms. Brianna said. Very good. So that's one way of identifying property. That's how you say, hey, I'm buying this house. Where is this house? Oh, this one house that we're going to be working with today is 3217 Lanka Place. Just like Ms. Brianna said, that's the address. Okay, very good. So that's the address. Excellent. So let's be a little creepy. Let's Google that address just to show you that is an actual address that exists. 3217 Lanka Place. Click. And click. Just to show you, there's 3217 Lanka Place. Pretty nice looking house. They kind of need to water the lawn, but whatever. Clay tile roof. That's a pretty nice looking house. Somebody's there at the front garage kind of looking at us like, hey, what are you guys doing here? We're studying civil engineering, sir. Please get out of the way. You also need to go get your dog, please. It's right here in the middle of the street. So yeah, this is 3217 Lanka Place. So let's kind of move up a little bit. Let's make the dog kind of chop them in half, and all of a sudden I think, well, anyways. Oh, there it is, staring at us again. So that's 3217 Lanka Place. Okay, so yes, that is one way of identifying property. You buy a house, let's just say you're buying this house. You're buying not only the house, you're actually buying that piece of property. All this land, all this stuff is yours. Okay, up to the property line. Okay, so here's my next question. in reference to subdivision plats, remember, we're not really talking about the house. We're kind of more talking about the land. Okay. Let me ask you this interesting question. You're buying your house. Very good. That piece of land is also part of the house. All right. So here's my next, and it might be a little bit of a trick question. Let me ask Jorge Medrano. Let me ask you this, Jorge. You're buying the house, 3217 Lanca Place. You're buying the land. Are you buying a piece of the state of Texas? Hmm. What do you think, Jorge? Are you buying a piece of the state of Texas? All right. Okay. Thank you, Jorge. I got a yes, because he wasn't too sure. So I don't know. That's why I'm asking. How about you, Eric? If you're buying 3217 Lanca Place, are you buying a piece of property that's basically a piece of the state of Texas? What do you think? Hmm. Exactly. Very good. Yeah, this is a piece of the state of Texas. That's pretty cool. Okay. I don't know if you thought about that, but that's what it is. Okay. So let's go back a little bit to our PowerPoint because as far as the PowerPoint is concerned, where's my PowerPoint? There you go. As far as the PowerPoint, we talked about this lot. It's a piece of the state of Texas. And in developing the site plan, this is how we identify property. So Brianna said, yes, we identify property with an address. Another way that we identify it is what's called a legal description. This guy right here. Okay, so not necessarily an address. Another way here in Texas that we describe property is what's called a legal description. Okay, so the legal description of this one, I can tell you right now, is Lot 4, Block 1 of the Vista Real Unit 1 subdivision inside the city of El Paso County, Texas. Ay, güeros. That's a mouthful. What did you just say, Mr. Torres? I'll repeat it. 11750 Stone Castle is also known as Lot 4, Block 1, Vista Real Unit 1 Subdivision, City of El Paso County, Texas. That, ladies and gentlemen, is called a legal description. Whew, that's a lot of information. So let's break it down. Let's start with the first thing. We already answered that question. Are you buying a piece of the state of Texas? Yes. Both Eric said it, and so did Jorge. Okay, excellent. Very good. So let's start breaking it down, though, because Texas is a pretty big area. I don't know if you've ever driven across Texas. It's pretty freaking big. If you start in El Paso and you drive all the way to Houston, it's about 12 hours to drive. Okay. So, as Jorge and Eric say, yeah, we're buying a piece of the state of Texas. Awesome. Cool. Where? Where are we buying it? Pues, I don't know. Pues por allá. Where? Oh, okay. So then the next step into identifying the area is somewhere over here. Okay. So the next step in it what's called the legal description is the county. Okay. So if we look at the legal description, it says El Paso County, not country, county. Okay. So what is El Paso County? Well, the state of Texas is actually broken up into about I think it's 254 counties. Okay. So way over here on the left is this orange looking thing. That's El Paso County. Look at that. Okay. So 3217 Lanca Place is inside the city of El Paso, which is inside the county of El Paso, inside the state of Texas. So somewhere in right, hold on. I can tell you it's going to be right there is Lanca Heights. Okay. Can you see it? It's clear, right? Not really. It's just that I'm just being silly. It's just that Lanca Heights is somewhere in El Paso County. Okay. Before I go to the next slide, let's kind of talk about the concept of El Paso County. Okay. First things first. El Paso County is where you're at right now. Right now, you are in El Paso County, okay? So, let's suppose one of you guys, and maybe this might be the case, one of you guys lives in Horizon City, okay? Let's just pretend. Has everybody heard of Horizon City? I hope so. If not, then let's kind of consider that. Let's say you or a friend or your mom lives in Horizon, okay? If you're in Horizon, are you still in El Paso County? Hmm. Okay, I'm getting a lot of nods saying yes. Okay, I agree. Yeah, you are. Okay. So let me kind of step it up further. Alfredo, let's suppose you live in, let's see, what's a good one? Socorro. You live way out there in Socorro. Socorro in English. Okay, very good. He jumped on that one. Excellent. Okay, yeah. Let's see, Mariano. Let's say I go to, I don't know if you've ever been to Fabens. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Fabens, Texas. And even before you answer that question, Mariano, if you have you ever been to Fabens? It's way out there. I'll tell you right now. If I get in a car right now and drive to Fabens, it's about 30 to 40 minutes. If you're in Fabens, are you still in El Paso County? You're pretty sure, or you are sure, or not really? Okay. Alondra, have you ever been to Tornillo, Texas? That's past Fabens. Okay. So, has anybody here been to Tornillo by any chance? Okay, Chris Moya. Let's ask you that. I'll come back a little. No se lo olvide. Chris, are we still in El Paso County? Okay. He's nodding yes. Yes, I agree. El Paso County is pretty big. El Paso County is pretty big. So if you look at El Paso County, you can kind of see that whole area, and you can kind of see that shape is the same shape that was in that map. It's this right in here, and it gets all squiggly back and forth because this is between El Paso and Mexico and stuff like that. And then it goes to here, 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 here. Okay. The correct answer is yes. If you're in Tornillo, yes, you are still in El Paso County. Okay. So that's pretty interesting. And it looks like you guys are pretty knowledgeable on this. That's good. You know, I've had students in the past that don't know that. That don't know that. Sometimes they think in Tornillo, no, pues that's like, quién sabe, unless it's somewhere else. Well, no, you're actually still in El Paso County. It's pretty big, I'll tell you right now. If you go from here, Riverside, or even if you're in the downtown El Paso, to drive all the way to Tornillo, you're gonna drive about 40 minutes, maybe even an hour with traffic. Okay, it's big. It's a big area. Okay. So good. I'm glad you guys know this concept. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about let's kind of continue with El Paso County because let's talk about and this really has nothing to do with the plat, but it's just something you guys need to know. You guys need to know. Let's just say, and this is having to do what called jurisdictions. Let's say you're here in El Paso, and heaven forbid somebody's trying to break into your car right now. Let's just pretend. So in the driveway, you look out the window and oh crap, somebody's trying to break into the car. You call 911. Blade, who is going to show up? Let's just pretend somebody's breaking into your car right now. You dial 911. I need help, come over. Somebody, okay, who's going to show up? Mr. Blade. Wow, look at that. He was being very specific. Excellent. The El Paso Police Department. Excellent. Very good. The police is going to come by and help you and see what's going on and maybe catch the bad guy, hopefully. Very good. Okay. Let's say one of you guys live in Horizon and somebody's breaking into your car. Okay. You're in Horizon, you dial 911. Who's going to show up, Giovanni? You're in Horizon City, and I don't know. I'm just pretend you're there. Or I don't know, you might be there. You call 911. Who's going to show up? I don't know. That's what I'm asking. So he's saying that wouldn't it be still the El Paso Police Department? So let's think about that. Angel Bocanegra, what do you think? You're in Horizon, you call 911. Who shows up? Okay. He is saying also El Paso Police Department. Does anybody disagree with him? All right, Robert Chavita, we got one person that disagrees. Why do you say they're wrong? Okay. 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 You went on the right track and then you kind of went on the wrong track. Mr. Robert, very good. Thank you, sir. For the purpose of the recording, I'm just going to repeat his answer. He's saying the El Paso is too big, the El Paso County, so it more than likely will be Horizon Police Department, which is a correct statement. The Horizon, the city of Horizon has their own police department. So if you're in El Paso Horizon, you call 911, the Horizon police are going to show up. Now, where he went wrong is he said then, or Fabens police. Will Fabens police show up if you call 911 in Fabens? No. Why? Because there is no such thing. There is no such thing as a Fabens Police Department. All right. So that's so sorry, Robert, but you had it right. But again, it's just things you never know. Sometimes you just don't know that. So, Miss Alondra, now we come to you, Miss Alondra. We go, Miss Alondra. You're in Fabens. You're in Fabens. You call 911 porque something happened and you need help. Who is going to show up? We already talked about the fact that there is no Fabens Police Department. Is somebody going to show up? Yes. Thank goodness. We live in the U.S. We do. So who's going to show up? Miss Alondra, that's okay. We say you don't know, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. You never thought I'd have to think about that. So what do you think, Miss Alondra? Okay. Well, like she says, she doesn't know. And that's okay. She doesn't know. Or the police that will be close by. Let's hope so. But who will show up? That's the thing, is who will show up. There is no such thing as a Fabens Police Department. There is a Horizon Police. How about Socorro Police? Does Socorro Police exist? Yes, I know that because my wife got a ticket from them a few years ago. And not me, because I'm a good driver. My wife got a ticket from Socorro Police. And why? Because I live in Socorro, actually. So we have a Socorro Police. There is no such thing as a Clint Police. There is no such thing as Nelly. There is no such thing as a Fabens Police. So who would actually show up? Does anybody know the answer to that without me pointing anybody out? Davian. Okay, Mariano and Davian both say Socorro. No, unfortunately, you can't. And this is kind of funny. They don't have jurisdiction. They don't have jurisdiction. Yes. Tornillo or Alamo Alto. Okay. Angel is saying Tornillo or Alamo Alto. There is no such thing as Tornillo Police, but Eric just said it. Eric just said it. What did you say, Mr. Eric? Okay. Wow, this guy's on it. The answer is the Sheriff's Department. But what is the full technical term of the Sheriff's Department? The El Paso County Sheriff's Department. Ah. So, guess who's in charge of the entire county? The sheriffs. El Sherife. The entire county is under the jurisdiction of the El Paso County Sheriff's Department. They are in charge of the whole thing. He also went one step further, and I'm going to talk about that next, but that's awesome. He really knows his stuff, and that's good. Eric, that's awesome. So, yeah, if you're in Fabens, Socorro, now let me tell you another thing, too. Can Socorro police give you a ticket in Fabens because you're speeding? No, they cannot. It's outside of their jurisdiction. They don't have a legal right to arrest you in Fabens. Okay. Of course, there's a lot of other things that can happen, but just like a ticket, Socorro cannot give you a ticket in Fabens. El Paso police cannot give you a ticket in Fabens. That's not their jurisdiction. Can the county sheriff? Heck, Yeah, they can give you a ticket anywhere inside El Paso County. Okay. And one step further, Eric just mentioned it. How about state troopers? Can a state trooper give you a ticket inside the city of El Paso? Can they give you a ticket inside Fabens? Can they give you a ticket in Westway? Yes. Can the state troopers give you a ticket somewhere in Hudspeth County? Yes. Can they give you a ticket somewhere in Amarillo? Yes. Why? Because the state troopers are in charge of the entire freaking state of Texas. So, just so you guys know. So now let's go back to our legal description. It's a breakdown. So, yes, you're buying a piece of the state of Texas. Where inside Texas? Inside El Paso County. Where inside El Paso County? Where inside El Paso County? It's somewhere inside the city of El Paso. So, out of all of this, the city of El Paso is actually this yellow area. That's what is the jurisdiction of the city of El Paso. And it's actually pretty big. And it keeps growing, by the way. All this yellow area, and I'm not going to outline the whole thing, is all the city of El Paso. And it keeps growing. I'll tell you right now, I think they're talking about incorporating a little bit more of the west side, where they call it what's called an annexation, where they start adding to the city and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so that's what the city of El Paso is. So now let's go look at a picture of the city of El Paso. Oops. Okay, so the city of El Paso is a little bit more familiar. I think we can kind of know where Americas Boulevard is at, and if you drive Americas all the way to like Canotillo area and stuff, all of that is the city of El Paso. Okay, so going back to our legal description, you bought 3217 Lanka Place, which is also known as the Lanka Place subdivision. So the Lanka Place subdivision is somewhere in El Paso, roughly speaking, somewhere around here. I think it's past George Theater, somewhere around here, por aquí is Lanka Heights. Is there a Lanka Heights over here by Vinton? No. There's only one Lanka Heights subdivision inside the city of El Paso. So, because of that, there's only one Lanka Heights. Okay? So, Lanka Heights, it's somewhere in this area. So, now breaking it down further, let's go back to our legal description. As far as the legal description, it's somewhere in Texas. The Lanka Heights is somewhere in the state of Texas, El Paso County, inside the city of El Paso, inside the Lanka Heights subdivision. So somewhere in here is 32. The subdivision of Lanka Heights is somewhere in here. Somewhere in here is the 3217 Lanka Heights. So then, now we need to talk about a block number and lot number. So to get even further in here, all of this whole area is block 1. How do I know that? Because if I zoom into the subdivision, and I might have to switch over to my subdivision exhibit, which is this one, so I can zoom into it, you can kind of see that all around the subdivision, we have this little number 1. And there's another little number 1 in a circle. I'm trying to find it, and I probably should have panned it over a little bit better. So all throughout the subdivision, Plat, you'll see a 1. You'll see another 1 right here. We'll see another 1 right in here. So all of this whole area is all block 1. And even down here, I can pan over here and show you that all of that is block 1. And bloque, it's just like the block, like when you go around the block walking your dog. That's what that means. It's just a block of individual lots. And then, what is the lot number of our house? Well, the lot number, if we go over here, it's going to be lot number 30. Lot number 30. So you have lot number 30 here. Your neighbor is lot number 29. Across the street is lot number 24, and their neighbor is lot number 25. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the concept of a subdivision. You're buying a subdivided piece of property that's subdivided all the way down from the state of Texas. Okay? Pretty intense, isn't that? So once again, Whenever you buy a piece of property, it's known by an address. That's kind of really the way we identify all property for the most part. But now you know that other than that, we also have call it, we refer to it with a legal description. The legal description that we have here in Texas is what's called well, it's called a meets and bounds description, but nonetheless, the legal description is basically known as that. So, so whenever you're developing a site plan, you basically need to know property lines and all that stuff. And to fill out the legal description, you need to consider the fact that you are part somewhere in the state of Texas. Inside the state of Texas is inside one of the El Paso counties, one of the counties, which is in El Paso. And then if you look inside of El Paso County, where inside El Paso County, it's inside the city of El Paso, somewhere in this little yellow area. And then we go inside the city of El Paso. Where in the city of El Paso is our 3217? Is somewhere in Lanca Heights. So then you go over to the subdivision, and inside the subdivision, you go to the lot number, the block number, and that's how you legally describe property. Okay. Any questions for this? All right. So I'm gonna